And of course, we're asking for the infamous 302 reports that were supposed to be declassified, but have yet to be declassified by the administration. President Trump is committed to declassifying this information. These 302 reports are the interviews that the FBI conducted with Bruce Ohr about his illicit communications with Christopher Steele. Congress knows they're out there. They want them. We sued for them. We want them. The Attorney General of the United States can release them. Certainly Director Wray can release them. They've yet to be released. But we're in court on it. In the meantime, and I don't want to leave this part out of the news, you have this corruption at the Justice Department uncovered by Judicial Watch that's extensive, goes from DOJ to FBI, the State Department. And you have the Speaker of the House of Representatives, whose political party was involved in this coup cabal. They hired, remember, the Democratic National Committee hired Christopher Steele, who used fake Russia intelligence, meaning Russia intelligence likely fabricated to harm Donald Trump. This is a political party operation. So the leadership of that political party is still abusing its power. They did it during the Obama administration. Now they're doing it in the House. Nancy Pelosi quite obviously leaked or talked it away to be sure that it would be leaked, because she's pretending to be against impeachment. And what's her response? I want to see President Trump in jail. This is the left today. If they don't like your politics, they want to put you in jail. Sure enough, you have the House of Representatives about to vote contempt on Attorney General Barr and Donald McGahn, the White House counsel, over what? Donald McGahn can't talk to the House because there's executive privilege. Why would you hold him in contempt over that? It's a lawful assertion of privilege. And this idea that the Attorney General is going to be held in contempt over a few lines in the Mueller report, which I'm going to get to in a minute as well, is absurd and abusive. You know, Eric Holder was held in contempt, and rightly so, by the House. You know what had to have happened for that to be for him to be held in contempt? Well over a year passed. What was Congress interested in? What was the House interested in? They were interested in the Fast and Furious scandal, which is the scandal where the Obama administration, specifically the Justice Department and the ATF, knowingly allowed illegal guns to travel to Mexico, be sold and travel to Mexico, and they'd be tracking them with the hopes that they showed up in crime scenes. They were arming the cartels knowingly with the hopes they'd show up in crime scenes. Why would they want to do that, you wonder, huh? It's because they were trying to make the political argument against the Second Amendment to restrict sales here in the United States. In order to do so, they were willing to see people harmed and get killed. Brian Terry, Border Patrol agent, killed in an incident involving Fast and Furious weapons. Hundreds have died, both here in the United States and in Mexico. And when Congress started sniffing around about it, Justice Department said, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. And then later, they admitted, oh yeah, well, we did kind of what Tom Fitton said we did. They didn't say it like that, but they admitted they were involved in that scandal. And so what did Congress want to know? I'm going through this because the history is important, because that's what a real scandal is, as opposed to the fake scandal that's being created by the Pelosi gang to try to destroy President Trump. Congress wanted to know, we want details on why we were lied to about this Fast and Furious scandal, this gun running scandal set up by Eric Holder. And the Justice Department refused to turn over the documents about why Congress was lied to, the false information that was given to Congress. And that resulted in a multi-month, almost year-long battle. And at the last minute, in order to protect Holder, Barack Obama fraudulently asserted executive privilege to protect him. That is why Eric Holder was held in contempt. And the House tried to get the documents by going into federal court, and it just took forever and a day up until Judicial Watch broke the logjam by getting the documents essentially released to us through FOIA, which took a lot of the wind out of the sails of the Obama Justice Department's efforts to hold them from Congress. Again, we did the leadership work here, even though Congress made the first move in finding contempt against Eric Holder. Compare and contrast that with Attorney General Barr. You have this Mueller dossier released. Barr releases it immediately in large measure to Congress. There's an argument over grand jury material and other sensitive documents. 19 days pass and the committee passes a contempt resolution against him. That's a star chamber type of situation. That isn't legislative function. I mean, that's just abuse of power. So, so as the House slithers through to impeachment, we're finding out more information about the Mueller report. It turns out one of the, and of course, if you've paid attention to Judicial Watch or to these updates, you've known from the get-go the Mueller report was no good. That's why I oppose the very idea of these anti-Trump partisans writing a report on the president. Sure enough, the report just proceeded. Deep State was running the show. And you had 400 pages of rumor, innuendo, legal higgle-piggle, argle-bargle, whatever you want to call it. And you had Mueller double down on this a few weeks ago, or last week, or the last week or two, I forget when it is, suggesting the president should be impeached over his garbage report, which showed no obstruction, no collusion. No obstruction, no collusion means no impeachment, obviously. And now the details are dribbling out because we all knew we couldn't trust Mueller, because the report turns out to be inaccurate in terms of having material information left out of the report. For instance, there's much noise made in the report of a phone call between then President Trump's then lawyer, John Dowd. He left a voicemail message to the lawyer, General Flynn. And they made it seem like he was trying to thwart testimony and in fact, Dowd was saying, hey, you know, what's going on? Let us know if you can. The let us know if you can part was left out of the Mueller report. Why? Because it makes the phone call look more innocent than Mueller tried to mislead you and the American people about. And it's breaking now that there's a State Department informant who's not listed as such, but presented as some sort of Russia spy or plant, was involved with the Trump campaign. So the report suggests it was this Russia spy plant involved with the Trump campaign, when in fact, it was a State Department guy, left out by Mueller in this report. If I were the Attorney General of the United States, I would disavow the report. I guess you can't pull it back, it's already out there. I'd say you can't rely on this. You know, the FDA, when there's a dangerous drug out there, they call, like bureaucratic speak, it's a black box warning is required, right? You may have heard of that. There needs to be a legal black box warning on the Mueller dossier. You can't trust it. And when we talk about investigating the investigators, Mueller and his team need to be part of that investigation. Who was behind this effort to mislead the public in order to get Donald Trump impeached? This battle isn't over, folks. And that's why we've conducted a number of Freedom of Information Act requests, or initiated a number of Freedom of Information Act requests for the background on this deep state assault on President Trump. As an aside, if you haven't read or seen the Attorney General's interview with CBS News recently, I encourage you to do so. We'll put up a link. The Attorney General knows what's happening. We don't want Russians interfering with our elections if indeed that happened. But we also don't want unelected bureaucrats and appointees, as General Barr called it, acting as a Praetorian Guard, who think they know better than the American people and are going to undermine the president. This sedition must be exposed and those involved in it held accountable. Simple. And we're doing our part with over 50 lawsuits to expose what went on.